When most people want AI to create an image or a story, they generally just ask for it in plain English. There is a much better way of doing this.
I built bots before they were cool. From Silicon Valley to Moscow.
We've been conditioned to think that if we want AI to do something for us, we simply have to ask for it. What's likely to happen is you end up in this repetitive loop of asking and reviewing and editing until you get something that's good enough. And even if you created the perfect prompt that created the perfect result on the first try, there's no reason to save that prompt because it's going to give you a different result a month from now, a week from now, the next day, even on the same platform. This lack of repeatability means that this is just a one-time event, and there's no reason to really invest any time in a prompt because you're never going to use it again. There is a much better way of doing this. Here's what I'm going to propose we do. Instead of directly asking AI for the end product, what we're going to do is we're going to ask it to create a very detailed description or a model of the main object we're trying to render. The result will be a very repeatable model that we can use in a variety of situations with high accuracy. These models are easy to create and easy to use because we're going to use a standard called JSON. And to prove that this method is effective, we're going to model something really complex. We're going to model a person, and we're going to call that model Alex. This is going to create a model that we can use in stories and images, in different poses, in different situations, all with a really high level of accuracy. All of the examples used in this video were accomplished on the first try. So instead of prompting for our end result, we're going to prompt for a model that we can reuse in a variety of ways. Now we could write this JSON description by hand, but we're not going to do that. We're going to use AI to assist us to create it. Now we're modeling an individual, but you can create JSON models of anything. In fact, in the book, we create models for things as diverse as baseball teams from the 1920s to automotive maintenance schedules. So we want our prompt to basically do three things. We want a really detailed JSON description of an individual. And since this is primarily visual, we want to focus on those things that are most visually prominent. And we want one character to look very different from another one. So we also want to choose those characteristics that we want to describe as those that are most distinguishing. The other thing we want the description to do is to group common things together. So here is our prompt. Please create a JSON description of a person. Focus on features that are the most visual and distinguishing. Be sufficiently descriptive so that the model will remain consistent from rendering to rendering. Group similar descriptions into common objects. The person you describe should be a Caucasian male, age 37, weighing 190 pounds and 5 foot 11 inches tall. He should be wearing a blue ball cap, a light blue cotton button-down shirt, and long khaki pants. Here's what the chatbot created. You'll learn most of what you need to know about JSON in the next 20 seconds. JSON is centered around these key value pairs, basically a label followed by a value. These key value pairs are separated with commas and packaged as objects. Simple objects can contain other objects to build more complex models, just like nature. Now that we have our JSON model for Alex, we can ask the chatbot to render our character based on the JSON model. Please render a full-body photorealistic image of the character that is described in the JSON. Here the JSON can either be cut and pasted right into the chatbot, or it can be uploaded as a separate JSON file. So here's our reference image of Alex, and I want him to fill our general description, but I'm not requesting that he looks like a specific person. If you're interested in making your JSON description look like a specific person, the book tells you how to do that. Our primary concern here isn't what Alex looks like, but rather that he fulfills the requirements of our description. What's more important is that he's repeatable. And this is not a lot of description for something as complex as a person. So now we have our model for this character named Alex. So we can start to pose him in a variety of different situations just by reusing that JSON that we created. Please render an image based on the attached JSON description. Pose Alex playing hockey. Again, here we could have created another object for the team or something to get the logo right, but we weren't really concerned about that. And pose Alex riding a bicycle. And if the bicycle had been important, we could have created a bicycle object as well. Please render an image based on the attached JSON description. Pose Alex playing a 63 Fender Stratocaster. Again, these were all done on the first try, and they were all done pretty accurately. Notice how recognizable and repeatable Alex was from application to application. This would be really difficult to do with a narrative prompt, especially on the first try, which means that we now have a prompt asset that we can save and use again tomorrow, next week, next month, and it should provide very, very similar results. Another reason why repeatability is important, you might be using this image in a sequence, like in a 4-frame cartoon. This is very difficult to do with a narrative prompt. Please use the following JSON description of Alex to create a 4-panel cartoon, where in frame 1, Alex holds up 1 finger and says 1. In frame 2, Alex holds up 2 fingers and says 2. In frame 3, Alex holds up 3 fingers and says 3. In frame 4, Alex holds up 4 fingers and says... I don't know if you've ever tried doing this, but again, this is almost impossible to do with a narrative prompt. Not only is this cartoon rendering of Alex recognizable as Alex, but it is remarkably similar from frame to frame. So let's go back and create a photorealistic image of Alex writing a letter at a desk. So our prompt is going to be, please render the JSON description of Alex in a photorealistic style, facing left, shown in 3/4 view, and writing a letter at a desk. Now all we have to do is change the style reference, and we can get all different kinds of styles of Alex in the exact same pose. Here he is as a line drawing. Here's Alex in a surrealistic painting. Here he is in an impressionistic style. Here he is writing a letter in the style of a Soviet Red Army poster. Here he is as a chalk drawing. And we can even get crazy. Let's do him as claymation. We now can pose Alex in any situation and render him in any style we want. Try doing that with a narrative prompt. Alex needs a friend. I'll show you how to do that. Please create a second JSON description based on the attached JSON description for Alex. Please describe the new person as male, 34 years old, Latino, with mustache and wearing a white t-shirt and jeans. Welcome, Marco. You can save these JSON descriptions as JSON files and upload them to the chatbot. Then we ask the chatbot for them to interact. In this example, we're going to ask Alex and Marco to fix an old car. Now we could have included a car object, and even though we didn't, ChatGPT did a pretty good job of describing the year and model of the car. And using the same method, here are Marco and Alex cleaning a fish. And finally, here they are with a random third person. In case, our models of Alex and Marco were extremely repeatable, very recognizable from image to image. And again, these were all done on the first try. Being able to do things on the first try is really important because A, it saves you a ton of time. Also, if you're using an API in real time, you don't have time for this iterative refinement process that most people use. Like and subscribe for more videos on AI and more lessons on creating structured JSON AI prompts. If you have questions or issues with what I just said, make a comment down below, or better yet, give me a call. My phone number is pinned in the comments.